Hi, I'm Tom, and this is Adult Game Reviews. This week we have a few new game updates, with one being the new Eternum 0.6 release. If we're going to continue to get releases where we're forced to pay for those individual updates, let's make sure they're worth our time. As per usual, all the links are available on my Patreon. Every time I try to put the links in the description, I get dinged by YouTube. So head over to patreon.com/adultgamereviews for all of those links. First, we finally get a Pale Carnations update. Pale Carnations by Mutt and Jeff, Chapter 4, Update 3 will be released for $10 patrons on the 26th of August. You can get access to the update on the 19th of August in just a couple of days, but that's for $50 patrons. If you don't know, Pale Carnations is one of the best power play games out there. I plan on playing this update later when it gets a little bit cheaper, so
I'm excited, you're excited!
If you haven't seen my review of Pale Carnations, you can check that out in the description to learn a little bit more. Next is the Shale Secrets update by Lovejoint. That's Chapter 13, and that was released at the end of July for $10 patrons. I played up to Chapter 12, which I thought was pretty good. If you enjoyed Shale Secrets, then you will likely enjoy up to Chapter 12. If you didn't like Shale Secrets, then this is likely not going to sway you in any way. Unfortunately, I have yet to try out Chapter 13, so you can check those out on Lovejoint's Patreon.
Ooh, looks pretty good.
The next update is Our Red String by Eva Kiss, Chapter 11 release. Our Red String was the second game by Eva Kiss. Her first game was Good Girl Gone Bad. I reviewed Good Girl Gone Bad and Our Red String, links are down below. I played Chapter 9 to 11, and I noticed the same consistent issues over the last few updates. As a reminder, the story split into two different main characters, Lena and Ian. Ian's story has been fun and interesting, but Lena's character has become very dull. The whole story feels like a chore at this point. Every time I jump over to Lena, I can't wait to get back to Ian's story. So my verdict is to wait or pass on the Our Red String update.
Very disappointing.
When you have half the story as relatively boring, it kind of kills the fun and immersion. Super disappointing, because when it's good, it's great. But lately with Lena, it's been feeling like kind of a waste of time. Moving on, I tried out Project Atmosphere by Dr. Mad with 4 chapters released. Look how beautiful this looks. It looks so good. I love the action. It starts fast. Truly incredible. Then I started to notice problems with the English translations. And then I noticed more grammatical errors and generally poor or confusing dialogue. This was the first game in a long time that I couldn't even make it out of the first chapter with how terrible the writing was. This has to be some of the worst English translations I've seen in a very long time. Maybe if they get someone to fix the writing in English translations, it could be worth it, but in its current state, it's a pretty hard pass for me, and it was incredibly difficult to get through. Super disappointing because it just looks so good.
No, hard pass. Hard pass.
If you're liking the video so far, please like the video and subscribe if you aren't. It's hard to believe this channel is almost 1 year old. Thank you so much. It's been a blast. Okay, moving on to something very different. Move the Chains by Misfortune Games. Move the Chains is a first chapter release of an incredibly unique game. You play a main character who is a 5-star football recruit, and after a life-altering event, he spends the next year in prison. After he is released from prison, he has to figure out what the next steps are for him and his family. I've never seen an AVN that takes place in the culture of college sports. The game explores the hardships of growing up poor, race relations, and has some political commentary. It's hard for me to tell if the political commentary was aimed to be right, left, or central-leaning politically, because there were statements that swung in either direction. You play a male main character who is very flawed. He can be dumb. He's not 100% likable. I mean, I knew guys like him when I played sports growing up. Usually well-intentioned, but not the sharpest knife in the drawer, if you get my meaning. All this to say, this is the most accurate portrayal of college sports I've seen in any AVN. Of course, with some lewd scenes thrown in. It's such a welcome change of pace from the standard college-themed AVN. This is set up as a harem game, and there's only one chapter that you can check out on their Patreon, and it took me a couple hours to play through it. This is what I'm keeping my eye on because it has potential. There are some things about it that may turn some people off, but I'm not going to review those issues until further along in development. This is a play or wait for me. If you're the type of person that likes to play newly released games, then this could be worth your time. You can check it out on Misfortune's Patreon for free.
She has so much potential.
Finally, we got the Eternum 0.6 update by Charybdis. We're finally more than halfway done with Eternum. Chapter 5 was a lot more character driven with Hannah, Penny, and Nova, with Chapter 6 focusing on Alex, Dahlia, with some Nova thrown in. You also get a fun scene with your favorite elven princess, and you see a lot more of Eternum itself. I enjoyed the 0.5 update because it had my favorite Hannah in it, but it was mostly a character development chapter. The 0.6 update takes you to a Call of Duty-like server, the Wild West, and you have to solve a murder mystery. The 0.6 update was quite simply a masterpiece in my mind. I absolutely loved it.
It's truly a masterpiece.
This is still why Eternum is one of only 2 games that I play update to update. So this is a strong play for me. If you want to wait for the full game to finish, I get it. But if you haven't played it in a while or you were itching for more Eternum, then this is a good time to jump back in. It was just released for $12 patrons last week, and I believe it'll be for $6 patrons released today. You can check that out on Charybdis's Patreon. Let me know if there's any games you want to see me review. I'm putting together my game list to review over the next couple of months. For the 1-year anniversary of my channel, I'm doing my tier list of every game I've played this past year, which has been a pretty big endeavor. So thank you all very much for sticking with me over this past year. If you haven't seen my video for Baldur's Gate 3, then you can check it out right here. Thanks again. Until next time.